welcome to today's Q2 2022 State of NAIFA. It is my pleasure to introduce NAIFA President Larry Holzberg.
Good afternoon, good morning. I want to start off this quarter's State of NAIFA in discussing a recent win we had at the state level due to the grassroots efforts of our NAIFA Kentucky members. I'll start with two reasons. First, we at NAIFA don't talk enough about our wins and the work we are doing day in and day out to combat regulations and legislations that would harm the businesses of our members and prevent consumers from having the access they need to the products we provide. Secondly, this is one example of NAIFA Kentucky's advocacy work is stellar example of the work NAIFA is doing 365 days a year in every state capital and on Capitol Hill at the federal level. So what happened? What was NAIFA's response recently in Kentucky? A bill was introduced ostensibly to eliminate the income tax in Kentucky by putting a 6% tax on financial services. NAIFA Kentucky quickly saw how harmful this bill would be and was able to mobilize its grassroots efforts to contact legislators and explain what the real impact would be if the legislation was enacted. Due to NAIFA Kentucky's effort, the bill was modified and the financial services professionals and our clients in Kentucky remained unharmed. It's scary to think how easily the bill could have passed into law. What's scarier is to ask is this question: if NAIFA wasn't there, what would have happened? The same can be said for the passage of the Secure Act. NAIFA was there days before the bill passed the House. If NAIFA wasn't there back in 2018 and didn't take the legal action through the judicial branch, the Department of Labor would have introduced and put into effect the Fiduciary rule, and the face of financial services would look wholly different than it does today. What NAIFA is showing up and doing the hard work each and every day, we have worked tirelessly with our partners to support Reg BI and adopt the NAIC annuity suitability model throughout multiple states, with NAIFA showing up and doing the hard work each and every day. We are constantly telling today's regulators and legislators that it's a different landscape than it was with consumer protections in place. NAIFA shows up for producers. We've done this for 132 years, and the only difference is now we are being very vocal about our wins and very vocal in getting the message out to producers as to why they need to belong to their professional association. We are taking every opportunity available to get out into the field and talk to the carriers, BGAs, agencies, IMOs, and broker-dealers about the good work that NAIFA does. We are letting advisors know that NAIFA is the organization that serves and protects Main Street USA and will cut through the political noise with great federal and state staff led by Diane Boyle. To that point, Diane will be featured tomorrow on a special webinar from Insurance News Net. She is super well respected and well liked, I might add, on Capitol Hill. That is why I'm asking you to join Diane, Kevin, and myself on May 23rd through 24th for our Congressional Conference. Capitol Hill is again open for business, and we want you to make the trip to visit your congressional leaders and staff face to face. Now more than ever, your voice is needed. You will likely see invitations in your email for the event, which features a policy debrief, a CEO panel moderated by Kevin Mayhew, featuring George Nichols from the American College, Wayne Chopis of IRI, and Susan Neely of the ACLI. Our guest speaker will be Senator Ben Sasse from Nebraska. Following our signature advocacy event in May, we'll have our signature education event in August. We have created and launched a new event called Apex, which is a pure play sales summit to ensure advisors are providing the best care possible for Main Street American individuals, families, and businesses. The event will be held at the fabulous Arizona Biltmore. We are announcing keynotes first and have started with Khalib Gilliam. In his mid-20s, Khalib has set the life insurance industry on its head through his unique approach of blending humanity and technology. Come here and meet Khalib, who has built his business in an entirely different way than the traditional approach to selling insurance. And I'm proud to announce our second speaker is Cody Askins of 8% Nation. Another trailblazer, Cody has built a near cult-like following to hear him speak because he is so energized and enthusiastic about the work we do as financial advisors. Expect to walk away with practical sales ideas that will result in top-line growth in 2022. We will continue to announce the keynote speakers. Registration is now open at apex.naifa.org, and we look forward to seeing you in August at the Biltmore. Now, I will turn it over to NAIFA CEO and my good friend, Kevin Mayhew.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you everyone for joining us here for our quarterly State of NAIFA update. During Q1 and now during Q2, we continue to implement our NAIFA 2025 strategic plan. As you know, our strategic plan is focused on membership growth, amplifying our brand, and providing an incredible member experience all throughout the entire NAIFA nation. We're doing what we are doing this year, and our scope of work is outlined in our 2022 Business Implementation Plan. Both the NAIFA 2025 Strategic Plan and the NAIFA 2022 Business Implementation Plan are available for everyone, our NAIFA members, our volunteers, our partners, and the general public, to download or read at your leisure at naifa.org/2025. We keep these documents freely available as part of our commitment to transparency. Also, to ensure transparency and accountability, we produce quarterly enterprise accountability reports, which are made available to NAIFA leaders, members, and stakeholders. These dashboards measure the work that we have done and the progress that we have made under our business implementation plan and the strategic plan. Our Q1 2022 dashboard, showing our progress in January, February, and March, is under development and will be delivered to each of you shortly. We are now in the 4th year of our new NAIFA since our members voted to restructure our association into a more nimble and modern association and to renew our focus on serving the entire community of insurance and financial professionals. NAIFA 2025 and our business implementation plan provide strategic goals and strategies on how to benefit NAIFA members nationwide and ensure that NAIFA's home office and our chapters are working from the same playbook. Great work, by the way, is being done by our chapters all across the NAIFA nation, working together as one unified NAIFA nation. And as we continue to move forward as a unified association, progress in one chapter is having a ripple impact on others, benefiting NAIFA members all across this country. And companies out there are taking notice and are reaching out to NAIFA. They're making investments in us in the form of partnerships and sponsorships and in encouraging all their producers to join, because they are more certain than ever that these investments are worthwhile and are paying off, and they see the great value of what they and the industry gets out of NAIFA every single day. Our partner associations like ACLI, Life Happens, the Society of Financial Service Professionals, LIMRA, LIA, NAIA, and WIFS work in close cooperation and collaboration with NAIFA to strengthen and unify our industry, particularly when it comes to legislative and regulatory challenges that impact advisors and your clients. We trust that you, our members, have seen positive change over these 3+ years, and that we continue to make great progress on behalf of every NAIFA member, every insurance and financial services professional, and all of the 90 million American families who look to our industry for products, services, and advice that provide them with greater financial security. The second quarter brings great and exciting programming and events for NAIFA members and the broader community of agents and advisors. In addition to the Congressional Conference, which our president discussed earlier, we are excited to be hosting NAIFA's 7th annual Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Symposium. This will be an in-person event in Washington, D.C. that brings together thought leaders and influencers from around our country to explore ways to increase DEI within the industry and better serve a diverse Main Street. It's an important component of our NAIFA 2025 strategic plan that touches on all 3 of our plan's primary objectives. Again, amplifying our brand, growing our membership, and providing a tremendous membership experience for all NAIFA members from coast to coast. This is a key initiative of NAIFA's Talent Development Center and our DEI Inclusion Council. Only by promoting diversity can we hope to grow our industry and offer financial security for all Americans. Also in the second quarter, NAIFA's Centers for Excellence continue to flourish, providing financial professionals with resources and access to experts to help them succeed in various practice areas. Our Limited and Extended Care Planning Center offers tools and ideas for professionals helping clients with long-term care planning. In Q1, NAIFA LECP experts were featured as presenters at the ILTCI conference in Raleigh, North Carolina. Our Vice President of Marketing and Communications, Suzanne Carawan, led an expert discussion of modernizing marketing for financial professionals, and that featured our immediate past President Tom Michael, Trustee Christopher Gandy, members Neil Himmelstein and Roger Sims. Our executive director for the LECP, Carol Golden, also hosted a session with Neil Himmelstein on long-term care planning with affluent clients and with business owners. And Roger Sims joined our Senior Vice President for Government Relations, Diane Boyle, to provide a legislative and regulatory update. The Business Performance Center provides a leg up for anyone who owns or manages firms or agencies. Under the Business Performance Center, in the first quarter of this year, we introduced our new RISE program, which provides leadership training for managers with a specific focus on aligning culture and strategy to improve the bottom line. Details and registration information are available at bpc.naifa.org/rise. The Advanced Practice Center is a joint initiative with the Society of Financial Service Professionals. Great talent from our two organizations combines to combine the resources and expertise of working together on complex cases. The APC is bringing its experts to a location near you around this country through the Advanced Practice Symposium. These in-person events will take place over the next few months. Our first one is in just over 2 weeks on April 28th in Indianapolis, Indiana. The second is on June 9th in Phoenix. The third, September 29th in Philadelphia. To learn more about the Advanced Practice Symposia and the APC, visit us at apc.naifa.org. And our newest center, which is set to be unveiled later this year, is the Employee and Executive Benefits Center. Watch for exciting announcements coming out on this center in the very near future. Our Centers for Excellence provide NAIFA members and colleagues with an expanded network of knowledgeable and ethical professionals for consultation and collaboration. I would like to thank all the accomplished individuals who lend their time and their talent to help ensure each of their centers' successes. I'm also pleased to announce that Carla Kirk has been added to our team as our new Vice President of Growth and Revenue. Carla brings a great amount of industry experience and is going to help bring NAIFA to the next level in terms of revenue production, but more importantly, in helping to grow our membership base. She'll be leading our centers and working again with our talented team, including Carol Golden. She'll be working on corporate relations with our talented team, including Michelle Harris, and then working with Randy Clark on helping to grow corporate membership sales and other membership sales to encourage every advisor to be part of our association. Welcome, Carla. We're glad that you're part of the full-time NAIFA staff. Another great place to learn more about our industry and your fellow NAIFA members is all the work that NAIFA is doing to serve you in NAIFA's Advisor Today magazine. Hopefully everyone is familiar with our Advisor Today online platform, which provides multiple blog posts each week profiling NAIFA members and offering articles written by NAIFA members and partners who are experts and thought leaders in the industry. We are pleased that once again this year, we are offering 3 print issues of Advisor Today that are mailed directly to NAIFA members as an exclusive benefit. The first issue went out in February, and you can look for the next one coming out this summer. We've also expanded our Advisor Today brand to include the AT webinar series. These monthly webinars are another example of how NAIFA is bringing you value and valuable programming in various formats that you can access how, when, and where you want to access them. For more information about the Advisor Today webinar series, please visit us at at.naifa.org/webinars. And finally, we are very excited and proud to announce the formation of the NAIFA Foundation for Financial Security. This 501c3 charitable foundation will advance financial literacy and promote financial security among all Americans, with an emphasis on traditionally underserved populations. The foundation is funded by contributions from charitable grant-making organizations and insurance and financial services companies. The foundation's very first program will deliver diversity scholarships to current or recently graduated college students who are members of underrepresented populations in the industry. And these scholarships will include 2 years of complimentary NAIFA membership, pre-licensing training and exam preparation, securities licensing prep courses, tuition for NAIFA's Lilly program, and many other benefits. And the foundation is actively exploring the possibility of offering similar scholarships for military veterans who are making career transitions. We're excited to be able to give back to the community through this foundation and by encouraging new and diverse individuals to join our association and giving them the tools that they need to succeed and to help all Americans reach their financial security goals. Now let's have a legislative and regulatory update. And for that, I'm pleased to introduce NAIFA Senior Vice President for Government Relations, Diane Boyle. Diane?
All right, thanks, Kevin. Excited to be here. Great news with lots going on. Larry teed me up perfectly to talk about Congressional Conference. That's really what we're focused on now. Congress is out for 2 weeks for Easter and Passover, gives us a little reprieve, allows us to get ready for the Congressional Conference. And I'm pleased to say that we've hit representation from all 50 states. We have advisors coming in, including Hawaii and Alaska. And I've got to tell you, Hawaii is a hard sell. Some of the folks I can say, DC is beautiful in May. And that argument doesn't really resonate to motivate people from Hawaii to come. So I'm glad that we have Hawaii represented as well as attendees from all 50 states. It makes a difference. This is the opportunity for our grassroots to go to Congress and share those thoughts and those comments and concerns with proposals that they're considering that we as lobbyists can do, but not in the same way. We can't give those personal stories that you can tell, and only you can tell, of you sitting down with your clients that happen to be that members of Congress constituent and give that perspective. It makes a difference on moving legislation. And we're thrilled to have people back. I can't tell you how happy I am to be back in person. It's going to be beautiful. And if you're not registered, I hope that you do so soon. With that, let's talk about what we're going to talk about when we get there. Larry mentioned what would have happened if NAIFA wasn't around when Secure passed. We were on the Hill 3 days before it was actually adopted. Now we're looking at Secure 2.0. The House has passed it. So when we go to the Hill again in May, we'll talk about the need for the Senate to act on Secure 2.0. That basically elevates the provisions that were put in place with Secure, takes it to another level, expands our ability to offer retirement plans to more individuals and get them started. So we're excited about that. Makes 49, I think, different changes to security and to retirement provisions. I'm not going to go through all 49, so you're welcome for that. But what we're seeing is retirement policy isn't a partisan issue. And right now, especially in an election year, a lot of times the discussion on the Hill becomes very partisan. It makes it really hard to move legislation. Good news for us is our issues aren't partisan. So we can have conversations with members of Congress on both sides of the aisle, get them to focus. The House passed it overwhelmingly. I think there were only 5 individuals that voted against it, which shows that there's widespread support for this legislation. Our challenge is making sure that the congressional calendar has time to get this legislation moving in the Senate. Then if the version in the Senate, which we expect will be somewhat different than the House, they need to reconcile those 2 versions. That's where the congressional calendar gets really tight. And so we're trying to move that quickly. What we do is we'll watch, make sure that if there's another vehicle that we can attach Secure 2.0 to, that we move it in that way. That's sort of how we did it with Secure the first time around. It was in that year-end stretch that we were able to get Secure tied to legislation that was moving the year-end push and get it over the hump and enacted, and fully expect that Secure 2.0 is going to be there as well this year. And so again, come to Congressional Conference. Other issue we're going to talk about, tax challenges. You guys know this. We saw it in the Build Back Better Act that was originally introduced in the House, made a lot of modifications. We took out a lot of these things that you're seeing on the screen now, only to have the administration, when they put forth their budget, to put them in again as another good idea, as a way to raise revenue for the federal government. It's not good for the industry. And what we need to do is explain, whenever there are tax challenges or tax proposals put on the table, what that actually means, other than raising dollars, What does it mean to the industry? What does it mean to your clients? How would it change how you do business? Those are the things that we're going to talk about when we come to the Hill in May, so that hopefully these things never see the light of day. The other challenge that we have going on, the president's budget typically is not something that's adopted and moved quickly with any Congress. The same is true with this administration's budget. The challenge that it poses for us is that it does signal where the administration or the president would like to be if you're looking at putting in any type of revenue changes. And if you're doing that, we'll see that in other legislation as well. If it's to be paid for, then there's going to be a tax title. And if there's a tax title, then it has to have some, obviously, tax change to it. So depending on what the legislation is, it's hard to tell where members fall, because it's going to depend on what it's supporting. You know, maybe I don't like a wealth tax for one provision, but if it's for something else that I really want to get done, maybe I think a wealth tax is good. That's where we come in and say, you know what, wealth tax not really so good. And let us explain why and who it hits and why it would be bad. If you look at some of the taxes on unrealized gains, explain what that means and why that's bad policy. So we'll do a lot of that when we come to the Hill. We'll also be talking about, let's go ahead and change the slides, through the DOL fiduciary only approach. And we had a question in the chat box asking if NAIFA supported a fiduciary only standard. And the answer is no. You know, we worked really hard with the DOL. Larry mentioned we were part of a lawsuit when the DOL first came out with a fiduciary only type proposal. Court struck it down. DOL said they expect to put something else forward. In the meantime, we saw the SEC come out with a regulation best interest. NAIFA was very involved on making sure that we put together language that would provide consumer protection, but still allow Main Street Americans to have access, and that you're not going to push out the middle market. So we worked really hard with the SEC on making sure that Regulation BI was something that was workable. We provided consumer protections, but it was workable in the industry. We also worked with the NAIC on their model and getting changes to the annuity best interest model so that, again, it aligns with the SEC, provides for that consumer protection, but also doesn't squeeze out the middle market. 22 states have adopted it. We expect that more will. There are about 8 that have activity. And actually on Friday, the Wisconsin governor is expected to sign and become the 23rd state to enact and adopt the NAIC best interest model. We expect to have NAIFA members there. Hopefully we'll have great photos to share with you of the efforts that our members have in making sure that we push this type of information through. Other issue that still is a really hot topic for our members, a number of you operate as independent contractors. We surveyed our members. We know that you want to maintain that independent contractor status. You operate small businesses. You're not a misclassed worker. We saw the Department of Labor is looking at this issue. Some of the state legislatures are looking at this issue. We've seen federal legislation to address independent contractor status and put in place something that is a 3-pronged test or an ABC test. It was something that came out of California, AB5, a couple of years ago. And when it was going through California, NAIFA California worked with the legislators to say, look, if you really feel like you need to put through an ABC type test in order to determine whether someone is an employee or an independent contractor, let me explain our model. We don't fit that because the way the ABC rule was written, it would sweep in financial services, only we don't belong there. And so we explained how we do business, the services that we provide, and California, who's very consumer oriented, agreed and created a carve out. Ultimately, the voters in California pulled back AB5, but other states are still looking at it. The DOL, again, still looking at that ABC type test. We worked with the National Conference of Insurance Legislators. on a resolution that said, if states are looking at this type of definition to determine independent contractor status versus employee, that they too should have an exemption for the financial services industry. So that was adopted, that goes through. That means when legislators start looking for legislation and models in different positions, they kind of go to the NCOIL resolutions and models and pick up from there. So that puts us in a really good state position for state legislation. On the federal side, the Department of Labor, if you remember under the Trump administration, they put in place an economic reality test that, or a rule that would reconfirm, if you will, the economic reality test. When the Biden administration came in, they looked at it and tried to pull it back. And just recently, it went to the Texas courts. Texas said, no, that wasn't correct, that the economic reality test has to stay in place. And that's something that we support, that would clearly define the advisors as independent contractors. And we're going to continue to work there. The Department of Labor has said they're still looking at putting in some type of independent contractor rule. And if they do, again, we want to go back to making sure that any ABC test that is adopted, whether it's through legislation or regulation, allows for and acknowledges the way that advisors do business and that we can maintain that independent contractor status. So that's sort of a combined, those three issues under the big blanket of what it is that NAIFA members do, how we serve consumers. That's going to be the focus of the Congressional Conference in May. It's the legislation that we're working on up until you get here. Hope to have you come in and do it. Another fun thing that we're doing at Congressional Conference is making sure that we have an opportunity for you to go and visit different sites that have an insurance tie and share the history of how we've been involved in the industry. And what it'll do is it will then allow you to take and put together your passport, that you can share that information with your member of Congress when we encourage you to meet with them during the August recess. So it's not a short game. We plan for the long game. Speaking of planning for the long game, 2023, believe it or not that far away. We have the 2022 elections. So now is the time to start investing in those campaigns. That's what NAIFA PAC does for us. So we've made it a little fun. We have a game, it's NAIFA PAC Madness. We're looking at the primaries, which are starting now. So in May, you can go through and actually pick who you think is going to win the primary. And it's a fun way to really go ahead and get us involved in the primaries, taking a look at what's going on, keeping our members involved. And so I just thought that was a really kind of fun way to start the campaign season. It'll run through until November. November we'll have the elections. We'll hopefully know who the winners are. A lot of times you go into runoff, and I'll deal with that after November, which will then lead to January runoffs usually. But we'll have a new Congress seated, and we'll start developing those relationships, because that's what we do. We make sure that NAIFA members who are in every congressional district start developing those relationships so that we can do things like participate in the Congressional Conference and come and share your stories. Develop those relationships so that you can be involved in district meetings, especially in August when there's a good chunk of time that the candidates are back home. With that, I hope to see everyone in May next month. If you have any questions for us, you know how to reach us. Want to keep involved, and if there's something that's concerning you, let us know so that we can address it on the Hill.
As always, if you need anything from us, please reach out and let us know. We're here to serve you. Thank you for your dedication to your profession and to our association. We very much appreciate it. Everybody have a great day.